The morning tide did not flow. It stuttered. Blue patrolled the jagged edge of the reef, his sonar mapping the familiar coral labyrinth, when the rhythm broke. A cold, rhythmic vibration pulsed through the water, cutting through the steady hum of the current. It was not the sound of shifting sand or distant waves. It was mechanical, precise, and hungry. Blue banked hard, his tail driving him toward the source. He found the school of silver baitfish huddled in a tight, shivering sphere near the reef wall. They were already sensing the pressure. A shadow detached itself from the gloom of the deep shelf. A shark. It moved with a terrifying, fluid efficiency, its dorsal fins slicing the surface like a serrated blade. The baitfish tightened their formation, a desperate, shimmering knot of life. The shark did not rush. It circled, narrowing the distance. Its path calculated to drive the school into the sharp teeth of the reef. Blue felt the water temperature drop as the predator accelerated. The reef, usually a sanctuary of light and movement, suddenly felt like a tomb. The shark turned, its body coiling for the final strike. Blue accelerated, his muscles tensing for the intercept. Blue did not wait for the shark to commit. He surged upward, his body arching into the air before slamming back down with a thunderous, whitewater crash. The impact sent a shockwave through the surface. He dove, circled the perimeter, and launched himself again, higher this time, his tail slapping the water like a warning bell. A few hundred yards away, the fishing boat drifted. John stood by the railing, his hand resting on the wheel, watching the horizon. The dolphin's frantic display caught his eye. He leaned forward, squinting against the glare. The creature was not playing. It was desperate. "Look at that dolphin! Something is wrong!" John shouted to his crew, his voice cutting through the hum of the engine. Blue did not stop. He dove beneath the boat, circled the bow, and breached again, spraying a curtain of seawater across the deck. John watched the animal repeat the maneuver, its movements erratic and sharp. He felt the shift in the air, a sudden, heavy tension that demanded action. He gripped the wheel, throttled the engine, and swung the bow toward the reef. The dolphin darted ahead, leading the way, its path clear and urgent. The boat cut through the final stretch of open water, the hull vibrating as John pushed the throttle. Ahead, the reef wall rose from the depths, a jagged barrier of coral and shadow. The shark saw the baitfish, sensed the closing trap, and lunged. It was a blur of gray muscle, jaws snapping shut. Before the predator could correct its path, Blue shot between them. He slapped his tail against the surface. John saw the movement and reacted instantly. He slammed the engine into gear, maneuvering the heavy vessel. The shark circled, frustrated by the boat's bulk, its eyes darting between the baitfish and the churning wake. Blue did not retreat. He darted into the space between the vessel and the predator, his body a constant, flashing presence. The water churned with the combined force of the engine and the dolphin's desperate, high-speed defense. The shark tried to flank them, veering toward the stern where the water was less turbulent. Blue anticipated the shift before the predator could even bank its fins. He surged forward, cutting a sharp line through the wake and darting directly into the shark's blind spot. His sudden proximity forced the predator to stall, its massive frame twisting in a desperate attempt to regain control. John saw the opening and swung the rudder hard, the boat's bow slicing through the water to seal the gap. The shark was now trapped between the churning propeller wash and the dolphin's relentless darting presence. Blue leaped, his body spinning in the air, landing with a splash that hammered the shark's sensitive lateral line. The predator faltered. It turned its nose toward the open ocean, the fight drained from its movements. With a final, powerful kick, the shark dove into the deeper, darker currents, vanishing into the blue abyss. The water smoothed out instantly, the chaotic churn subsided into a gentle, rhythmic ripple. Blue drifted near the hull, his breathing heavy, his skin glistening under the midday sun. John leaned over the railing, reaching down to touch the water near the dolphin's dorsal fin. Blue rose, locking eyes with the man for a long, steady moment. He gave one final, powerful leap that sent a spray of cool seawater over the deck, a sharp punctuation to the silence. From that day forward, the reef changed. Whenever John sailed his boat near the coral, a gray shape emerged from the depths. Blue appeared, jumping and spinning in the boat's wake, a constant companion to the man who had listened to his warning. The dolphin remained a silent guardian, patrolling the reef edge.
Luma the giraffe stood tall on the silent savannah, her long neck stretching toward the sky. She scanned the horizon until a flicker of silver light caught her eye. A tiny star was snagged. She trotted toward the tree, its glow pulsing like a fading heartbeat. Luma extended her neck, but the acacia's sharp thorns scraped her skin. She pulled back, watching the star tremble. Luma stood still, breathing deeply, then let out a low rhythmic hum. The wind responded. She signaled to the fireflies. Hundreds of them swarmed into the tree, illuminating the gaps. The ancient wood creaked and groaned as it bent its limbs outward to create a path. Luma pressed her nose forward, nudging the star with infinite care. The star slipped free. The star tumbled upward into the darkness. It paused, casting a brilliant golden beam. It darted back to its place in the constellation. The night sky ignited with radiance. Luma watched the sky ignite with a new radiance. She turned away from the tree, moving slowly across the grass as the savannah fell silent. The night was whole again. A green frog sat atop a mossy rock, his throat puffing out like a vibrant balloon. He stared at the water, shouting to the dragonflies above. "I am the master of this pond," he croaked loudly. "I know every pebble on the bottom and every ripple on the surface," his boastful voice echoed. One morning, a crane descended from the clouds, landing with a soft splash. The bird stood like a silent statue, its eyes fixed on the dark depths. The frog hopped closer. "Hey, newcomer!" he shouted. "Do you even know how deep this pond is?" The crane did not even blink. The frog grew bolder, pacing his rock. "You are just a visitor who knows nothing," he boasted. Suddenly, the crane tilted its head. With a lightning-fast motion, it plunged its beak into the water. A silver fish wriggled in its grip. Without a sound, the crane spread its wings and vanished. The frog stood alone on the rock, staring at the empty sky. He opened his mouth to speak, but no sound came out. He had spent the morning talking, yet he had missed the very life happening right in front of him.
Winter came quiet over hill and field, painted every ridge white like a page with no seal. A little bunny woke up, nose twitch, nose twitch. He looked at the snow and gave a tiny skip. Soft, soft snow, soft underpaws, crisp, crisp air all around, all around. Hop, little bunny hop, hop, little bunny hop, leave your tiny prints. Hop, little bunny hop, hop, little bunny hop, kids whisper hop, hop through the silver drift. One small mark, then two, across the sleepy hill. His ears went bob, bob, bob as he held so still. Snowflakes on his whiskers sparkled in a row. He sniffed the cold sky, then away he'd go. Soft, soft snow, soft underpaws, crisp, crisp air all around, all around. Hop, little bunny hop, hop, little bunny hop, leave your tiny prints. Hop, little bunny hop, hop, little bunny hop, Bunny steps on a snowy veil. Nose goes twitch, twitch, ears go up so high. Then a little burst of spring from a winter sky.